How's it going, people? How are we? Take that. I done that. Computer geek. Right. So anybody who is requesting to join me this evening, that email that you see above the Baldchinian, you need to email that and I'll send you a link. I'm going to take everybody as they come, so whoever I see first in the emails, I'm just going to work through it in that kind of direction, just to let everybody know. So again, you know, people, we can talk about whatever you like. Obviously, I'm still going to be me, so don't come in here with any false hope that I'm going to be something other than exactly what I am. If there's things I don't agree with, if there's questions I want to ask, then I'm going to ask them, and I'm going to state what I want to state, and that's the same for you, you know? So, again, as long as people remain respectful and polite, then they're going to get that in return. So, it's quite simple. I'm sure we're supposed to be dealing with mature, wise adults here. You know, there's no need for childlike behaviour. So, the internet is awash with childlike behaviour. There is loads of psychological nonsense going on with people in here. Again, before I even state anything about who I am, people who are concerned and, you know, looking at shows and who the game players are, it's the people who are focusing on anything but what the objective actually is. It's all very well and good if we're talking about, you know, psychoanalyzing certain behaviours with specifics. You know, if we can analyse, you know, a certain scenario or sequence of events or somebody offering something, we can analyse, you know, behavioural aspects and what it may be pointing towards. But, you know, the people who are just running about shit slinging and trying to defame and bring characters and persons down, that's your propaganda agents right there. You need to be very, very wary of these clowns. And I see it going on and on and on. You know, I've got wee muppets running about, you know, professing this channel's a cult and this, that and the other. I don't even think they understand the definition of a cult. Right? I'm not the one that's in any monetary gain with a church and a facility and all this fucking stuff. I'm not an elite. Right? I'm just a fucking man. So there's people who have got a real issue with attention here at this platform. They've got a real issue with real common people coming together and sharing, you know, interaction with each other and maybe sharing some useful information. They don't like that. You know, I consider myself a rogue in regards to these clowns because they can't control me. I'm not going to be coerced by, you know, swayed by my ego and appealed to through my ego, because I don't give a fuck about any of that. I'm not here representing me as a persona. I'm here questioning the validity of the claims in regards to your objective reality. We're analysing what we can actually know and find out to be true and factual about our shared reality. So that leads me into anybody that new that comes to this. You know, we are people here who refuse the cult teachings that we were born into, the one narrative that we were offered and given and dictated to, that where we lived, who we are, what we're a part of. I refuse that, and I refuse it on good grounds. It is an absolute absurdity to my intelligence. It is an insult to natural exploration. That's what it should be called, but it's called science. It's been given that term, and that term of science has been used to perpetuate and push utter crap, including where you think you live. So I'm saying to you, you think you live on a ball in a vacuum, zipping through the vacuum? You're seriously mistaken. I understand that it's not an easy thing to take, and I'm willing to engage with people who are intellectually honest and honestly seeking a discussion in order to understand who I am and maybe understand themselves. Because as far as I'm aware, people are running about this plane with beliefs and assumptions that they're holding to be true, and they have never properly analysed them. I considered myself an ex-cult member. I used to be part of that cult. That is the cult. That's the place where you have elitism, you have enormous wealth, you have, you know, influence over billions of people, you've got your fingers in all sorts of pies. That's a cult. Singular individuals questioning the validity of these claims and analysing their reality is by no means a cult. People come here of their own free accord. Okay, I never asked anybody to come to me. I don't stick my nose into these people's business. He's come to me. Okay, and then people want to bitch and whine and moan about it and start trying to slander and defame my character for whatever reasons. Know that that's of any relevance. So, if you come in here and you want to talk to me about objectivity and the dimensions of the earth, you know, there's a criteria for that. We have to agree on first principles of what we're actually talking about. Right? I expect to see intellectual honesty, no cult zealotry and avoidance and sophist tactics. I'm not going to stand for any of that. The reason I'm not going to stand for any of that is because I had to get through the process. I had no reason or want to refuse the globe, other than actually addressing what I held to be true and finding that I could not justify me holding that belief any longer. So don't come here thinking that I came out an egg, you know, 5 years ago from some other dimension. So, you know, the world's flat and you're going to fall off the edge and there's domes and all that stuff, because that's no me. I understand that there's a cognitive dissonance, there's a psychological and emotional process that you're going to go through when you're questioning this. Okay? So it just becomes a matter of how honest are you with yourself? How willing are you to address things that give you security, although they're false? False certainty, false security. Are you willing to take that away from yourself? I am, because I don't give a fuck about substitutes, delusions, things to just pacify myself and make myself feel better. I want the actual truth. And as far as I can see, there's an obvious attempt at trying to control people psychologically, emotionally, physically. There's a real push to keep these narratives running within the minds of people. It's a hypnotic trance. And I don't want to be part of it anymore. I'm fucking sick of it. So, don't be coming at me with preconceived notions of what you think I am and start asking me idiotic questions about the edge of the earth and, you know, domes and ice walls and all that fucking gobbledygook, because I ain't interested in it. I'm a realist. I was born into this. I don't know what the full dimensions are. There's restricted areas all over the place. How is somebody like myself, people who are isolated within the confines of the area set out for our being, how are we supposed to establish the full dimensions without proper exploration and investigation? It's an absurdity. So right there and then you should be able to see that these people who push this question as a debate, a dichotomy, these people who represent a straw man cartoonery of something other than the globe heliocentric model are either deluded, stupid, or they're at it. Because the reality is, this is what we were all born into, okay, and the generations before. They have known nothing else other than the assumption that they've held to be true. So when we start to dismantle that and actually analyse it and realise it's a crock of shit, for people to come at me and then start demanding that I have something to replace that is an absolute absurdity. The burden is not on people like me. If I start making claims to you about what the dimensions of the earth is and blah blah blah, I will answer to that. I will only answer to my claims. You don't come here like a wee preconceived delinquent and start projecting your nonsense at me and expect me to reply to it in kind. I'm not going to accept it. I'm going to tell you you're a fucktard. For enough of this jobby over the last 4.5, 5 years, whatever the fuck. Okay? The fuse has shortened to absolutely nothing. in regards to the stupidity and the nonsense that comes from this globe cult and its fanatical zealotry. So if you would like to join, again, email. Right, wait till I open everything up here and see what's going on. I hope everybody's well. And as I say, I'm just going to start working through the emails as they come in. Right. How are we all doing, people? Is all right? Let me just see what's happening here. Right, where was I? Right, Steve, cheers for that email, mate. I'll respond to you. Let me just see. Yeah, my name is Ryan, 28 years old from Cape Town, South Africa. A bit about me. I own 2 fuel stations here in Cape Town, which I've had for 3 years now. Busy trying to sell the business as I've lost the passion for it. Before this, I used to organise outdoor music festivals around here, and I've also been a kitchen manager at a very successful restaurant here in Cape Town. Not sure why I'm telling you that, but anyway, I've been awake for about a year and a half now and really enjoy your YouTube channel. There are plenty of flat earth channels, but they're a bunch of absolute retards, talking about ice walls and domes and claiming they know the model and blah blah blah. I'm not sure what's worse for me, a person claiming the earth is a globe or a person claiming that they know the flat earth model and ice walls. Exactly, mate. Though I must say, the dome stuff kinda gels well with me due to the fact that you can't have a pressurised system alongside a vacuum. What, boy? What? I'm smoking. Excuse me, because I've got a stalker. Come on.
Okay. I'm listening to coffee.
Now you sit on that then, okay? Right. It kind of gels with me due to the fact that you can't have a pressurised system alongside a vacuum system. Well, again, you know, I hear what you're saying there, that kind of gels with me, but that would be under the assumption that there is a medium that is a vacuum that we are within, you know. So if we're not within a vacuum, the only reason I say that is in regards to the heliocentric globe cult nonsense. You know, when I'm looking at physics, I'm looking at my direct reality. Just having a conversation with somebody. It's not going to speak back to you. It doesn't speak.
What?
It's not going to speak.
What?
Gooter, I'm going to eat you.
What?
I'm going to eat you.
What? I want to go in fire.
Fire's not on. Just put it on later, right?
The pin. No.
Right, come on, are you coming to sit with me or are you going out?
What's it? Daddy suffering going to go bike?
It's the Harley show this evening. Nobody else is getting a look in.
The door?
Yeah.
What's this in the door?
It's my stuff for cleaning my bike, my motorbike. I
What?
showed you earlier.
What?
It's the stuff for cleaning the motorbike, look. Yeah. Go and see where Xander is. Go on.
No.
Right, so you know, I have to reiterate that to people when I'm saying that's in regards to their claim. So of course, if we did exist and we could prove and show that we did exist within a medium that's a vacuum, then there would have to be some sort of thing like that to separate us from that medium. But none of us know that to be true. So anyway, the thing I don't like about the theory is that it's basically saying that I believe that they are telling the truth being a vacuum. Exactly, sorry. I've just realised that you've stated that here. Right, you madman. Go and get Xander. So as I say, I tend to skip past anything that refers to any ice walls or domes. Yes, at the moment I actually only watch your channel as I agree pretty much everything you say. I'm yet to find something that I don't agree with. Regarding the Earth, I also you're not allowed to, agree, by the way. Because if you agree with people, that means that you're a cult and that you're idol worshipping or something. It can't just be that, something makes sense to you and that you realise that for yourself. That's obviously not allowed, Blah, blah, blah. I also kind of enjoy Phuket Ward's channel with all his scaled down experiments, but he drifts off, blah, blah, blah. We will never know the truth about what's up there in the heavens, and that we'll only know after we die, blah, blah. But we have no idea what will happen after death, exactly. I'm going to speak about that, midweek, again, talking about force, getting into the details of will, determinism, and trying to speak to some of that and see what makes sense and offer up how I see it, and then hopefully we can engage in some discussion. So, point of my message, I wanted to ask you what you think the best way to wake people up, because I'm struggling to get through to people. I find it so extremely bizarre, but everyone in my life seems to get so angry with me when I start talking about it. There's an obvious reason for that. It's because people are so deep-rooted in the delusions and the things that they have bought into. It's a burden to them to have to question, their actual existence when they're so enamoured with the shiny. They see things dangling in front of them, whether it be an idea or whatever, and they just invest themselves in it and commit to chasing that. So it's difficult, Some people are just no. Again, this is another thing I want to talk about is environment and circumstance and how, what may have arose for people like myself to end up in the position I've ended up in, by questioning my reality and questioning myself, my own mind, my own processes, everybody else. We'll have a wee look at that and ask the questions there about what's actually going on as well. But there is some people who have just never had any reason, never felt a necessity to question in any depth their actual reality or contemplate or philosophise about their existence. It just doesn't seem to be for everybody. So again, when we're talking about activism, for me, it's like trying to gauge each individual that you're speaking with. You have to be very aware of all sorts of things going on. First and foremost, you have to be approaching it from a very neutral kind of ground. I can't be setting out thinking I'm going to convince people and convert people and bombard them with what I'm thinking and contemplating. I can only offer up a line of questioning that I hope will maybe trigger some thought in them, and then that will bring them into some sort of discussion with me, just to see if they're willing to open up their reasoning processes. So there's the aspects. There's also the aspects of being aware of yourself and your own intent and your own demeanour, how you're carrying yourself, how you're articulating. You also have to be aware of their body language, look for the signs. There's loads of layers of complexity to this. We can't just go willy-nilly bashing people over the fucking skull and then expecting them to, be alright and go, alright, I get it, thank you very much. It's childlike, these kind of attitudes that people have. The way I normally start a conversation is I show them a picture of a massive dam and I ask them to tell me what they think will happen if the dam walls break. Obviously they say the water will flow out. I do this for 3 pictures and obviously they say the same answer for all pics. Then I elaborate the point that water will always flow downhill and they agree with me 100%. Then I show them the globe and I ask them to explain how this is possible, globe with water. They either laugh and completely change the subject or they get worked up and angry. Well, again, these are just signs of cognitive dissonance, and it's interesting that you're saying that because I've been active in gathering some interactions on the street, and I actually got a mathematician who displayed the very same kind of reactions, although was agreeing on first principles before we go to that. Now, it wasn't a kind of violent, obvious reaction. It was more subtle, but I'm going to put it into the next upload and we're going to have a wee analytics added to it in regards to what I've seen happening, and hopefully that will maybe help people with some aspects. Blah blah blah. Then I show them the global blah. They either laugh and completely change the subject, or they get worked up and angry. I've lost 2 good friendships due to them getting upset. It gets me so mad how people literally cannot have a decent conversation about real facts. Ali, please stop it. Going to go outside now. I've been playing with you. You need to go and get Xander. Where is he? Go get him.
I'll go play on the slide.
Okay, go and you play on the slide. There's nobody there.
What?
There's nobody on it. You can go and get a shot. Go.
Baby there.
You go and get a shot. Come on, Daddy, put you on it. Right, go, quick. 2 seconds, people. Go. Go. So, you know, to the point of losing friendship with people, this is just part and parcel of life. But, you know, I would seriously, you know, have to say to people, you know, you need to consider what you're actually up to. If you're losing friendships, maybe it's because, you know, you just can't help but prodding. You know, and again, you have to be aware of people that they're just not really interested, and if they're no, you just need to respect that. It's their free will, it's their choice if they want to be in that mindset. So who am I to, you know, continually try and prod them and then fall out with them? There's no reason to do any of that, you know. Just, if you can have the conversation, you realise they're not interested, move on, you know. My problem is that once they start parroting their science books to me and telling me shit like gravity and all the rest, well, this is another aspect of the Dunning-Kruger effect. And these religious mantras and buzzwords and phrases that people recite and, you know, spew out there, although they don't have a clue about what they're actually saying, you know. But I'll be highlighting that as well. I get so irritated when they can't accept reality. So I probably need to be a bit more considerate with people, but it really boggles my mind how dumb people can be. You know, this is it. Again, it's their choice, isn't it? Basically, I just wanted to ask you if you have any advice on how to approach someone, how to avoid them getting angry. Well, again, it lies at you. You have to be aware of yourself. You have to be aware of your environment, your surroundings. You have to be reading their body language, their eye movements, their facial expressions, the twitches, you know, there's a whole package going on, and you just have to be smart enough to see what's happening and diffuse it before it goes any further. And simply to diffuse it, you can just thank them for engaging with you and fucking swiftly move on. My partner, who I've been with for 7 years, has agreed with me that the globe is an absolute joke, but her fear of losing friends over the topic has pretty much ended up with an agreement that I won't bring up the topic when we are with friends. So I've been bottling up everything for a few weeks now, and it's driving me crazy. Go and speak to strangers. Formulate a method of being indirect and non-antagonistic. And then, you know, it's amazing when you actually go into the world and the amount of people who are willing to engage with you. I mean, I date constantly. You know, I don't always have my camera with me. I own, you know, it's not about that. And it's amazing how willing... You always find it quite a lot of the time when, you know, it's one-on-one with a stranger, they're much more comfortable opening up. I've spoken about this before, because there's no preconceived idea of who they are, and they don't have the same for me. So we're not holding each other to these usual social constructs of behaviour modifications and expectation and familiarity that breeds contempt. There's none of these aspects going on. So sometimes that's, you know, it's much better. I enjoy some of these interactions. Maybe try that. Anyway, thanks for the great channel. Keep it up. I hope the space agencies never send an agent to get rid of you. You're very brave saying where you stay. Well, fuck it. I've got nothing to hide for anybody, you know. And I'm not part of any of their wee clubs. I've made no alliance or allegiance to anybody. My allegiance, my alliance is to myself and my immediate family. I have no signed contracts to keep fucking secrets or any of that stuff. I'm a free agent here, and I'm entitled to ask and put input in there, whatever I decide. No any fucking other man's decision to make. So people need to get over that shit and realise that, everything's about up here. It's about your attention, your will, where you direct at, what you take on board. So, fuck them. I don't need to chastise them, these agencies, this NASA, all that stuff. I don't want to hang them in the street. I don't want to, do anything to them. I just want to go on with my life and talk to what I see is relevant and true. I don't need to buy their products. I don't need to give them my attention. I don't need to vilify them and get my vengeance and all that fucking crap. Again, these people are entitled to put out what they want into the world, make their products, be who they want to be. That's up to them. I'm not here to judge that. Okay? I can only see how I see it and offer that up. So as soon as we start getting into the avenues of trying to vilify people and hold them accountable for your own discernment and your own mind, then, whatever. It's a choice, people. You can either buy into things through ignorance, or you can buy into things through your own will and your own intent, your own discernment. So that's the choice people have. We can't go blaming external sources for people making ignorant or willful choices. It's the individual that's the responsibility. I never read through the mail before sending, but I think it's an extremely random message, so I apologise for that. No worries, no need to apologise. Just wanted to get it off my chest, as there's nobody to chat to about it here on the underside of the rock potato. Well, you're always welcome, Ryan. I've got people here and, interact with some people. You'll get some discussions going on, but you're always welcome to join. Give me a shout. One-eyed Wally. Mr. Dell, personally think you're a nut job, but I would like to join your hangout on Saturday. What are the chances of a freak like myself finding out the real truth? How do I get connected? Thank you.
Right.
Well, One-eyed Willie, I'll take it that that's a request for a join. So I'm going to set one up and you can join me. And you can tell me what a crackpot am, and then you can articulate your reasons. Okay? So, just let me set this up here. Okay, Mr. One-eyed Willie. There you go. That's shown here. Okay. So how are we doing, other people? Pied Piper, Highway Child, Corey Cors, Colshy Cats, Jack Stander, Bill, Glenn Parent, David Marks, Gaz Lee, Kosho Cocoa, Wynand, Marilyn Wisby, Individual Perspective IP, TP in a Tree, Gleba, RS Level Plane, BM Never Forget Dresden, Celtic 67 Backup, Jack Stander, oh I've read that one. Okay, Alexander, how you doing? V Thomas, P900 Coolpix, how you doing? Paul Etchells, Pied Piper, how are you? Tracy Story, Tanya, how you doing? Stephen Watson, fondle my balls. Fondle them your fucking self. Glenn Parent XP, Leila Isabella, David Marks, Beyond Belief, Mr. Shamalala, GT, The Game 316, how you doing? TMF, Highway Child. Steve, how you doing? Tony Dixon, how you doing? 5 Doors, oops. Ballface Liar, Breaking Down the Wall of Lies. Stephen Smythe, Chris Hayes. Say my name. Stationary Plane, how you doing? Suicidal Hoaxer, Jack Stander, Hazmat. Tasty Wheat, how you doing? Flat Enough, Execrate, how you doing? Maggie M, how you do? Bob Fawcett, how's it going? Maya Kaku, 86, how you doing? Billy Zig, I'm good mate, cheers. Comment, Neo Human Eve, Gary Lee Masuria, how you doing? Terry Hayes, how's it going? Kiara McGrath, how you doing? Anton Zander Levy, how's it going? So let me see what's going on here. So I'm waiting on One-Eyed Willie. West Coast, how you doing? Ali B, BK Dave, how you doing? There's a globe. Oops. All Willies have one eye, no some. I've seen people getting them split and fucking rings and all that put through them. Some right crazy stuff out there. It's a false statement. Right, One-Eyed Willie's going to get a couple more minutes and then I'm going to move on to the next. Steve, oh, no, that's not. Stephen Steen, how often you guys were calling shows? I was on a chat. CC, blah, blah. Right, Stephen Steen, I don't know if you're asking for a link here. Doesn't look like it. We're on this evening, Stephen Steen. You'll need to send me another email to tell me if that's what you're actually looking for. Any Singh sending me the black hole picture, but with some added bits on it. Nick H, I will. I'm just getting to yours in a wee second here, mate. Right, One-Eyed Willie, he's had his opportunity, so I'm going to shut that one down and start another one. Nick, I'm just going to set this up now and send it to you. Right, so Nick H. So we're waiting on Nick H. As I say, I'm just going to move through whoever's next on the list and send them. I see there's a few others there as well, so. Yep, told you that's too big for me, Goomba.
Oh snap, I think I'm going to shut that down.
How you doing, mate? You alright?
I'm good, thanks, man. Oh snap! I just shut off the YouTube stream just in time.
Nice one. How are you?
Can you see me or anything?
I can see you, mate. Unfortunately, you're not going to see me because of the way this is set up.
No problem. That's fine.
It's just because it's my OBS is linked to the YouTube, obviously. So this is the process we have to go through because of the cult zealotry interfering. You know.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I was listening to the chats before. I had no idea about the porn bombing.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe like that. That's the extent that they would go to.
It's not just porn bombing, mate. They've been doing this since I started. You know, just sniping the hangouts, taking over it. You know, getting their wee 5 minutes of nonsense in there and whatever else, and then obviously they started the porn bombing. So it's been going for quite a while.
Shit, man, I can't understand it, but you know, at the same time, I guess that's what separates me from them, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man, how's everything going?
Yeah,
Had a good day.
Good, mate. Good. I'm good.
Yeah, we're going to be having some guitar in the start. I heard on one of the other chats, I heard you jamming some Metallica, and I was like, oh damn, I want to get on
that. That was from the early days of learning. I've still got some in my vocabulary, you know. So,
yeah, it doesn't leave you.
No, it never goes. Sometimes it goes, but you know, a wee 5 minutes of refreshing and it's back again. So
yeah, and especially the early stuff, man. There was nothing better to learn in regards to just like, you just wanted to. Sorry, my words are failing me at the moment. Okay, I'm gonna put that to the side anyway. My first thing I just wanted to bring up was on behalf of all of the people who watch, I think I wanted to extend a thank you to, I think it's your wife that brings you your tea.
Yep.
Yeah, just like, you know, keep bringing on that tea. It seems to power you up halfway through the show, and you're right back up there.
If only that's all we needed, mate. It was a cup of tea, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure exactly what you want to talk about or anything. Obviously, you don't want to take up too much of your time either.
It's pretty much for people to come on and bring in what they want to talk about, mate. You know, so this is the opportunity. I've always done this, opened up on a Saturday for you know, the common man to come in and talk about whatever you like or highlight whatever you think's relevant or whatever you want to bring to the table, mate. You know, it's your choice.
Yeah. Well, there was something I was thinking about last night. Like, obviously, funny enough, the one thing I didn't want to bring up is the element of flat Earth. I mean, if you've covered it so much to the extent of, you know, how much more can you go into, you know, until you start crossing that line of, you know, bullshit maps and it's probably this or it's probably that.
Exactly.
But I was thinking last night about the just the ingenuity of the creativity of this realm. You know what I mean? Like every design that humans make. Look, I could be wrong. I'm not speaking from an academic side or an academic point of view, but I was just thinking about it, how the design of everything. I mean, anything that even the most abstract things that we try to create comes from something within this realm.
Yeah.
So of trying to create something that, you know, that doesn't exist here. Yeah. There's nothing that you can think of that won't take a texture or an element or a pattern from something that already exists.
Yeah, totally, mate.
Yeah. So to think of what must have designed, if something designed this place. I mean, it's quite evident that, you know, something designed this place. Just to think of, you know, the mind, the ability of that being, whatever it is, even if it is a being, you know what I mean? Yeah. It just astounds me just to think of the, oh my God, Nick, your words are failing.
Intelligence.
There is I want to say it just because of the because you understand what I mean when I say the gravity of the situation, but
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah. Exactly. But that's
Yeah.
it. I mean, it's obviously, you know, something out with this reality, out with this realm. It's, you know, it's not something that we can point to within the realm and say there it's there. It's, you know, it's like anything that's designed. The designer does not exist within it. You know, it's got to be out with it. You know, so again, it's another aspect of a futile endeavour to try and figure out what that is. It's something for me that I don't spend too much time on. I accept that it's there and it's a possibility, but I'm not going to burn myself out by trying to, you know, theorise and rationalise what that could possibly be, what its intent is, what the whole thing's about. It's pointless, you know.
Yeah, no,
Not to say that I don't engage in you know theorising and being creative with my own imagination about what it could be. You know, we can only play games with ourselves and ask questions that maybe point to something, but you know, other than that, it's a waste of time trying to get certainty on it.
Oh yeah, because I mean, you can think about it forever, and you know, like we're pretty much what we think. We've been given pretty much around about 100 years here, and I don't think I would be surprised if anyone's come close to having like the full correct answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
But
yeah, I always have to ask the questions: is why are people trying to answer that question? Though it seems like, you know, a deliberate perpetuation of distraction. You know, it's like we have these faculties of exploration and inquisitiveness, and why do we not just continually pursue the objective reality and play and inquire and see what it takes us? We seem to have stopped somewhere along the line and started to theorise and contemplate about imaginary realms and invisible places, and you know, that's for me is a whole part of the problem. Why can we not just continually explore without postulating and trying to dominate each other with our ideologies and imaginative ideas of existence and creation and gods and all this stuff? You know, it's bizarre.
Yeah, would it be fucking great if NASA focused on the damn oceans and not bullshit space?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's more than enough down there that I'd really like to find out, but then again, are they going to tell you? I don't think so. But also the other thing I wanted to bring up was every time I watch you and I hear about the people that ask you about your tattoos, and that it's just really ridiculous because of the like how open you are in regards to the meaning behind them and what they're about, and even to the degree of having gotten tattoos that a few years later you're like, what the fuck did I do that?
Exactly. I'm sure that there's many other people who can relate to that, but it's just preposterous, as you say. It's like me saying, well, what does your hat mean? Why have you got a beard and long hair, and why do you wear that jumper? That means that you're part of some, select cult or whatever. It's total fucking nonsense, mate. It's irrelevant.
Oh, you see, if you flip it, it's 333 or 6. You'll find it everywhere. You know what I mean? Like my brother's got a zombie Vader tattoo on his arm. I could just imagine them just like sucking up the picture. There's got to be fucking numbers here somewhere. Where's the Illuminati confirmed? Somewhere within this.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous to think like it's exactly what I brought up in regards to all of our artistic expressions come from what we've experienced. Yeah. So I mean, if you want to take numbers and all of that bullshit and tie it together, I mean, shit, we could do that with absolutely anything, and we can make it coherent.
Exactly.
But
there only is 9 numbers. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, right. Oh man, but other than that, I'm a bit. You caught me. Like I know I said I was like I'm super ready, and then you were like, oh, okay, cool, I'm gonna do it, Mr. One-Eyed Willie. Seemed to get there, but there was nothing else. I just wanted to pop in and just for the first time be able to be like, I damn well respect your approach, and I love the interviews that you do on the street. I don't see how anyone could see it as something offensive, or I mean, even the way you approach them, and that in no way is it any form of harassment. There's a first and foremost, there's a you approach it with, are you okay with their what is the word I'm looking for? Confirmation or consent? There we go. All right.
Exactly.
That's brain.
Exactly. It's just about being mannered and respectful to people, and at the end of the day, you're not bullying people into engaging. That you know they're adults and they're making that choice of their own back. So you know that's it. You can only be respectful and thank people and appreciate them offering up their time. You know, so
Yeah, and also in regards to the flat Earth or the idea of it, here in Portugal, I've done like a few tests because we have here in the Algarve we have cliffs ranging from different points along the ocean, and we got a whole bunch of lighthouses. So I'm able to get the correct heights and that of those lighthouses, and I've proven many times to myself just how much bullshit the Earth curvature calculation would be if what they're saying is correct, which they spouted out enough to say that they're fucking
exactly. And I take it you've noticed in different conditions from day to day, these observations are changing, they're varying.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I mean, like the other day, I couldn't believe that I could see Sagres from Carvoeiro. And I had been there multiple times and I had never been able to see it. And it was because it was mostly during the winter.
Yeah.
And beautiful spring day, I could see it, no problem. But I mean, I don't also see how anyone couldn't just understand the concept of there's nothing not there. There's a medium we exist in.
Exactly.
There's a medium everywhere. Yeah. There's never an existence of nothing.
Yep. Exactly.
So to think that I mean, especially to hear it from a scientist. Well, if the Earth is flat, why can't we see Europe from the eastern coast of the United States? It's ridiculous because their audience will just eat it the fuck up without thinking.
Exactly.
It's that moment of, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a reference to I can't, but you know what I'm talking about.
Well, it's just total stupidity. Let's not beat about the bush. It's total and utter stupidity and ignorance when they say these things. And again, it's perpetuated by the globe cult and its antics. Removing the aspect of vision, perception, how the eye's working, how perspective's actually playing a role, conditions, temperature, moisture in the air. There's loads of factors, and not only that, you get objects reduce in apparent size over distance, and all these things are left out of any equation. They never factor any of that in. So that's why they come back with these ridiculous statements of, why can I not see the east coast of America from fucking Europe or whatever. You're like, aye, okay, you think you've got telescopic fucking eyeballs that extend out beyond your skull, and you're not a giant, you're very, very small in comparison to the vastness of the plane that you're standing upon. So
if that was the case, what's the point of making zoom lenses? We'd be able to fucking just do it ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. Those lenses exist for a fucking reason, and when we zoom, oh shit, we can see further.
Yeah.
I mean, just even in regards to within your own space, within your own state, or living space. You know what I mean? Like, so I can obviously see Portimão from Estombar, no problem. You know what I mean? But I can't, I can't obviously, the further things get away, the environment impacts it, and the make your brain, man.
That's sorry, mate.
Sorry, man. I'm a little bit.
It's not easy, mate. It's not easy doing this. I totally understand. It's how it goes, and nerves playing a role, and it's always the same. It's the same in music. I don't know if you're a musician yourself. You
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, you know what it's like. You know, you can sit and play a piece perfectly with absolutely no worries, no pressure. As soon as you hit that button to record, you know, it all goes to fuck. You're making mistakes left, right, and centre. You know, you're forgetting what you're playing. You know, so
As soon as you hear that like click track go for the recording,
yeah,
immediately your fingers are like, I don't. What were we doing?
exactly, mate. Exactly.
No, but yeah, we used to. I played in a band in South Africa, and the first like one or two shows were, really difficult until obviously I popped those shoes off and really
Yeah.
started to swing that guitar around.
Exactly.
I have to say, still best time of my life. If there's anything that has brought more joy to my life is writing music, and
Yeah.
the fact that it's something that it's so like difficult to live off of.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a sad thing because I mean, never been that happy. I mean, my brother, my older brother's a drummer. I'm a guitarist, so we just sit in the from Friday to Sunday, just sit in the the band room and just write music and write music.
Excellent. That's it.
Yeah.
These are the good things, but I miss it as well. There's nothing better than performing pieces, and you have that reciprocity where you're offering up an energy, an extension of yourself, and other people receive that, and then in return they're giving you it straight back because you see the enjoyment, they're enjoying the time, they're enjoying the music, and it's a nice circle of appreciation and enjoyment. So I miss it as well, but these days it's all for the wrong reasons. A lot of people are just involved for egotistical stature, money, trying to better themselves. It takes away from the heart and soul of just enjoying it and enjoying each other's company.
Yeah, the show, like pretty much the whole of the shows that we played were in dingy bars where you were probably going to get stabbed.
Yeah.
It definitely looked like it, but yeah, and in regards to the people enjoying it, giving it back, yeah, I'd say about like 90% of them. The other 10% were probably the guys throwing up in the mosh pit, but
Yeah. Exactly. So
pretty sure you had your own amount of that.
I don't know. How is it? Portugal? Yeah, is that where you are?
Yeah. Now
What's-
I'm in Portugal. Just I left South Africa about like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, just because of I saw that coming.
Aye. How is it in Portugal? What's the kind of gauge there of people? Are they discussing this? Are they hearing about it?
In regards to Flat Earth.
Just people questioning the globe, whatever. Is it being discussed there? Is it quite prominent? Or?
Oh, I really wish I could say, but I speak like next to no Portuguese, so even if they were, I wouldn't even know. I wanted to speak to people about it, but then again, also the language barrier makes it like really difficult, especially out by the coast. It's just so easy to speak to people about the coast, at the coast, but there's a lot of tourists, obviously, but they're going about their own thing, and they just obviously want to do their own thing.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I've seen one or two channels pop up, but I think they're both in like Porto, which is more up north, so way far from me. But I wouldn't be surprised though, because there's a huge amount of people in Brazil, and Brazil and Portugal are obviously very closely connected in regards to the people living here and there. So I don't know, but it's one of those things that I mean, if we look around the world, the amount of countries where English is not nearly the first language. Flat Earth seems to be, or the idea of it is very prominent. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I was speaking to a Russian woman or something that she was saying that up until a certain year, they learned that the Earth was still flat. But I mean, her English wasn't like fantastic, so it was difficult. I could see that that's not what she was saying, but she said like it was only until like they obviously went up into space apparently, and then they put down their middle fist and were like, it's around.
That kind of makes sense to me. For me, you know, any time before that, it would have been absolutely preposterous to try and convince people that they were living on the exterior of an oblate sphere or anything like that. You know, it's only through the times of technology and producing images and fireworks with powerful, you know, powerful enough fireworks to get up to a height, we could start to implement this idea and show these depictions and images to people to convince them. You know, but up until there, I find it very difficult to accept that the common man and woman, people in trades, people who had an understanding of their physical reality and applied certain tools and trades in reality, you know, these people would have laughed, as far as I'm concerned, if you tried to say to them that they were on a curved surface. You know, especially in the early engineering and some of the feats of engineering that went on before. These people would just be, you know, non-accepting of a curved surface. None of the axioms that they were utilising and using would work on a curved surface for a start. So, you know, they've had to go to great lengths to try and implement this image and concept of a globe. And I don't think it's as old as they're trying to make it to be.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, even for her, you know, she said that she came from the very far eastern region of Russia, where their beliefs are extremely orthodox. So I can see how, you know, that would have been taught in her schools because, you know, they took the word of, you know, God, whatever that is. And but hey, I mean, makes more sense than the bullshit that they spew out. And but then again, she said like, oh no, but it's definitely what they say now. So it's like, yeah, all right, but I'm not going to try to change your mind. Yeah.
Well, it's an inevitability, you know. Hopefully, more and more people start speaking about it, and it gets wider spread, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, Del. I don't want to keep anyone else from like you know coming in.
No, I appreciate it, mate. I appreciate you coming on. Hopefully.
No problem. Hey, thank you so much for sending me the link. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome anytime, mate. And again, if you want to chat in private, you can just send me a wee message as well. But, you know, it's always open on a Saturday. You can come back, you can bring up whatever you like, mate. It's not a one-use ticket, you know, so.
Yeah, I'll be more prepared next time. I'll maybe like take off my shirt and maybe give myself
Nice.
But yeah, as for anyone else listening, I'm super lonely. So if you in regards to speaking openly and speaking to people, you know, with a mind. So if anyone also wants to just get a hold of me, Nick H, you can notice my profile with the huge, beautiful bud on it. And yeah, other than, oh snap, that's the other thing I just wanted to bring up. You're the person with cancer, flat earth female, I think.
Yeah.
Terrible, obviously, but what like therapies is she going through? I read about she's juicing apparently.
Yeah, I think she's doing dietary aspects, but I think she's opted for the radiotherapy aspect coupled with you know, diet and THC and CBD oils and, you know, a few different things. So I think she's going to go with that option. You know.
Yeah. Normally, I would imagine maybe does she have kids?
Yeah.
I would maybe imagine that's probably why she went with the, you know, the doctors must have scared her enough into it too.
Yeah, well, she did it. You can go and watch some of her testimony of her experience. She's known as Flat Earth Female, her YouTube channel.
So does she have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, Flat Earth Female, she's called. So
okay.
You can go there and you can interact and whatever. You can hear her testimonies and stuff, you know. So
yeah, because if she was interested, but I'll also speak to her. We'll see if I can try and speak to her about it. But the research coming out on fasting and intermittent fasting is ridiculous in regards to what it does to the body. You know, I experienced it to the point of like my my stretch mark on my stomach just like you know, disappearing.
I can add to that because I remember in my times, you know, I was you know, really in poverty through my teenage years, getting into my 20s, and a lot of the time, you know, I was going days without food, no through a choice. But I remember how healthy and how strong my body actually felt when I was in that kind of process. You know, although my mind was maybe a bit depressed and I was going through various emotional and psychological struggles, my physical being was always strong and healthy. You know,
Yeah.
so and again that wasn't a willful aspect, but still experiencing the same thing, fasting intermittently. You know, randomly going a couple of days here and there without food, and you know, small bits of food.
Yeah, when you don't have a choice.
Exactly. You know, so. Aye,
But,
I know she'll be looking at all aspects, mate. So I'm sure any wee piece of advice or information will be greatly received. You know, so
yeah, I'll definitely look her up then and see if I can.
mhm.
You know, it's a scary place to be because the last thing you want to try and do is give someone information in regards to health, and you're like, I'm not a fucking doctor.
Exactly.
The closest thing to a doctor I am is like I've made my own,
Well,
cannabis
this is
oil.
it. You know, that's why I always encourage people. People can only offer up their own direct experience. No people who are just reciting things that they've read or hearsay. We're only looking and interested in people who have direct experience of these things and what they have to offer in that regard. You know,
Yeah.
the rest of it's just all fucking hot air and people trying to sound impressive. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just in regards to the amount of bullshit I got on my feed from this whole black hole bullshit. Oh my god! To the point of like these. I think it's very Tussinum or something, some YouTube channel like that, describing how the photo was taken and how this was possible. And I'm like, bro, how the fuck do you know?
Exactly.
Oh, and you're just like spewing this off, and then as soon as someone else just like says to you, "Hey, maybe you should think about this."
Yeah.
Oh, no, they told me.
Exactly. That's it. That's the preposterous of the situation, mate. You know.
Yeah,
So,
I don't get it. But yeah. Other than that, Del, have a great evening. I'll still catch the rest of the show. Maybe just I'll give some time to other people out there that want to get on.
nice one, Nick. Cheers for coming on, buddy.
Yes, thank you so much, Del. Have a great weekend.
You too, my man. Take care.
Cheers.
Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Right. Right. Gary Lee, next. Hi Dale, I thought I'd send a little email about some of the things you suggested on your last upload. Gonna start by introducing myself as Gary, Gaz Lee in the chat. From Cam's 50 years old the other week. Where's the fucking time go, eh? Exactly, mate. It just flies. I don't get to watch you live much as I work evenings. It seems a lot of us in this have had very similar lives. Artistic types, introverted, never fitting in, ridiculed and all that shite. I could write a book and all that crap I've been through, but I dare say you could too, eh? Exactly. But hey, we're still here and still doing our thing, although I am not. I am on strong meds for depression, anxiety, and anger issues. Went through the 9/11, Alex Jones, Ike phases, but always steered well clear of the flat earth stuff. Until the penny drops, and I can't even remember when it did or how, but it's been about 18 months or so now. Anyway, that's me, and I have a lot of respect for what you're doing. I wish I could do it. Also a musician, I play organ in garage rock bands, Los Tombstones, and my current band, the Morphics. Check us out, and give us a like, as we don't have any, lol. Okay, now I'm going to get to fuck. Have a good day, Dale. Look forward to your show tonight, as I have a day off being a slave. Yeah, I've done all the freeman stuff too, like yourself. Cheers, guys. I'll check that out. I'll get back to it. So, Los Tombstones, LOS Tombstones, and the current band is the Morphics, Morphics. Nice one, mate. Refresh that. Right, Ali B. Alright, I'm just gonna set up a new event. the link sent to you. So again, for anybody who's here, you'll see an email above my head. If you want to join me, you just need to send me an email there and I will send you a link. What's happening, people? Chatting about curry. It certainly has riddled me that. How you doing, Andrew Calvert? I don't know how you witness a black hole. You'll need to go and ask the fantasists about that. Aye, that's it, Kiara McGrath.
How you doing, Dale?
How's it going, Ali?
Not so bad, not so bad.
Hold on, mate.
Yeah, I just thought I'd comment. Did you see that that black hole? That black hole they've just discovered there.
I certainly did, mate.
What do you think of it?
Utter nonsense. What do you think?
I
I'm
watched-
going to think yet.
Oh well, it was just going. It was quite funny because you were talking about like the use of language and stuff like that. You know, we've talked about that before, but it was just I seen the broadcast. They broadcast it simultaneously. They released the news simultaneously around the world, right?
Yeah.
And they done the conference, the European conference they did, and it was as they came out. That's just as they came out with they sort of broadcast it around the world. But it was the end speech that the guy gave. They gave a sort of, you know, like a roundup at the end, and this president guy, and he was using words like adventurous and courageous, and you know, he was using all these words associated with like adventure and stuff like that, you know, to make it sound exciting.
Yeah.
And it was just funny. It was just made me think these people probably they were sitting listening to that because it was all scientists that were there, and they actually, when they showed the photograph, the guys on the stage, they actually stood up, turned round to the picture of the black hole and gave it a standing ovation.
I know.
And I thought,
aye, it's total NLP in it. It's fucking total garbage.
oh,
It was the same with remember the gravitational wave shenanigans, and it was we've done it, clap, 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 clap. We've done it. Hey. I mean, fucking utter shite. But it's it's just NLP. It's just to galvanise people into a belonging, and they're part of some big adventure and all that fucking garbage. And it's a fucking smudge on a screen. You know, people are all orgasmic about it and fucking patting each other on the back. And I mean, for fuck's sake, it'd be different if you had discovered how to appease world hunger and how to fucking home everybody and eradicate fucking ill health, or something like that. But a smudge on a fucking screen and we're all ecstatic. I mean, fuck off. You know?
And that's the thing. And another thing, another wee tactic that they use that, they play this victim card quite a lot, right? Is a lot of these lectures and stuff like that, they always mention the fact that they say science is under attack. Very subtly done, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, the only people that's attacking science is people like, us, or people that are, otherwise everybody buys it.
Yeah.
So they're specifically talking about a very, very small group of people that are not buying it, that have no impact whatsoever on funding or anything. But yet it's
funny.
really...
Aye, it's funny their use of words, the attack on science, without defining what they mean by that. They're not saying, we're attacking your science of sophistry, your science of abstract theoretical fucking hogwash. You know, that's what we're attacking. We're not talking about, you know, the fundamental aspects of actual physical reality. You know, we're talking about all this theoretical pish. So it's funny how they again, just using the umbrella word science, but you can see it through the last few decades and how they've championed themselves as being the, you know, the forerunners and separate from religions and all these kooky ideas and notions of us and our existence. And yet these people are doing the exact same thing with this existential narrative that they've got running, you know, philosophical materialism running rife within something that's meant to be totally objective. You know, why the fuck have these people got an existential narrative at play? They should just be investigating each part of reality as they find it, and that's it. We don't need fucking stories of, but you know, 4.5 billion years ago and, you know, 20 billion years into the future and 14 million light years away and all this crap. Get it all the fuck.
and it's like that point what you were talking about, and I've always said this as well, you know, it's like, you know, like Christians or people that are religious, or where do we all come from and stuff like that, and then you look on the scientific, they're asking the same question but in a scientific way, and I'm like, who gives a fucking shit? Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Who cares? The point is that is irrelevant where we came from or what we. Let's sort out the problems that are happening and now, how we're getting screwed, our kids are getting brainwashed, poisoned, you know, the white man's getting attacked, man in general's getting attacked, you know, we're the baddie, women are getting told to stop reproducing, you know, an instinct that makes us the same as the very animals. Yet people want to sit about what you said, 400 billion light years away, star, and, you know, how's that solving problems, what's happening now?
It's all distractions.
People are totally blind.
Exactly, it's all distractions to stop people from
centering.
Distraction to stop people from centering themselves, mate, and understanding their own faculties and their own processes and ironing out the nonsense within their own being. You know, again, it's everything but that focus. You know, it's not about empowering an individual and giving them proper discernment or any of that. It's just under the illusion that that's what's happening, but it's just pure distraction and delusion. You know, it's all so obvious.
Yeah, I think, but the thing, and I think the other wee thing is like through the. Because that's a natural instinct to ours, I think, right? You know, that adventure, what you always talk about, the adventure, curiosity. I think somehow through the education system, that's been taken out of us. We've been deprived of that. So like the majority of people, whereas they can't, no matter what, it's like, it's nearly impossible for them even to contemplate what, you know, the opposite or is deep. You know, it's like there seems to be a cut-off point there that's been programmed in, and the minute that happens, or their reality, you know, subconsciously becomes conscious or recognised before they're conscious, when the reality is being subject to question, and the protective subconscious will go, fuck that, that's going to shock, let's just trigger, let's manifest it in anger or attack, denial, whatever, man. Exactly. And that trigger's been set in there through NLP or indoctrination.
But it's also because people are, you know, again, it's an appeal to their natural constitution of exploration and inquisitiveness. And they've offered up a substitute, something to appease that. And you know, again, it all comes into this. We're in limitation, you know, so therefore people are feeling isolated like that. But these industries, these agencies are offering up an outlet for them to, you know, pour that natural constitution, that natural want into that. They want to believe it's true. You know, it appeases that frustration of being free to move and exploring further. So you can see, for me, I can see that that's been done. It's a total psychological shoveling that's went on. You know,
shoveling of shit.
Aye, shoveling your attention into that and giving you a channel as an outlet. You know, although it's just a falsity, which is why it's kept, you within a set wee group, and that the common man's never going to achieve or attain any of these supposed explorations, but as long as we can keep the mantras of us, the human race, we're getting there, we're going to Mars, we're this, we're that, and people are championing that, again, through their own will to explore and find new things out. They're championing it because they've bought into it and they believe that it's actually happening. So when you try and take that away, it's like, I'm not liking that. I've invested
yeah, I
myself.
can see that.
Yeah,
I can see a bit of that. Yep,
Right.
definitely. It's such an intricate web of how they've actually done this, regarding, because there's other subjects, totally nothing to do with science and stuff like that also has the same amount of,
exactly.
controversy within it. And it's like what you've said there. It's like, because everybody's got dreams or passions, some people want about space, some are about the environment.
Yeah,
And quite rightly said that they've used this want of the empathy, perhaps, towards the human being or blah, blah, blah,
Exactly.
play on that. So everybody runs about wanting to save the world and totally
Yeah.
blind to,
And
the reality or actually what's going on.
Exactly.
They've just been used.
And touching on what you said there, I forgot what I was going to say. Aye, these things that people are chasing or they buy into, their dreams and their passions, they have to actually ask, well, is that of your own free accord? Is that a real natural essence of you that wants to pursue that? Or are you just opting for a choice that you think's the best option that maybe suits you? And again, people need to ask themselves these questions.
Yeah, and the thing, and that's exactly right. And then the problem is they've taken away, or whatever's happened, the pressures of society or the monetary system or whatever, have taken away the time to actually sit down and contemplate,
Yeah.
or sit with your friends
Exactly.
and discuss that, and think, oh, okay,
Yeah.
and the more people, and then you take that into work,
Yeah.
and it's more of a discussion rather than, because that
Aye.
chap that was on earlier, or the guy that sent that email about how he gets so much anger aimed at him, he was like, how do I tell people about it? It is hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Aye, and there's been an erosion of community, Ali, as far as I can see as well, just like you say. People are too busy, they're under too much pressure and stress to fulfil these expectations, and it erodes community, it erodes, direct relations and interactions with people on healthy matters and healthy aspects. So they don't even have the time, it's home at 5 o'clock, deal with what has to be dealt with, eat some food, get a shower, sit in front of the TV and just, spaz out, for a couple of hours and then go to bed and repeat the cycle again. And then at the weekend, they're so built up with pressure and stress, they just want a blowout. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and then the thing is, if you're like-minded like us, you think a bit deeper about things, or the whys, and wait a minute, that doesn't add up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Imagine now that you didn't have anybody to talk to.
Yeah.
That must just kill, and that's what I'm saying. That's the problem. Because the minute you talk about anything at all, if you attack government, or immediately it's like an automatic trigger, you're a conspiracy theorist,
Exactly.
and you could make a statement that governments are corrupt, and everybody knows they are. Oh yeah, some, but they can't seem to put the two together.
No,
You know what I mean?
Again, it's like the natural constitution. I think we thrive on stability and security and certainty, and and you're starting to question these things that they relate to as that. They think they have certainty and security and all these aspects, and it's just very easy for them. He brushes off quickly with a phrase, conspiracy theorist, or you're too deep, or you're crazy, or you're whatever. Just because, again, it's just about having compassion, I think, and understanding, the constitution of a human being and what it's actually looking for. And if you're trying to remove that certainty or security, you're going to get an adverse reaction to that. It's just an inevitability as far as I'm concerned,
Yep, and it's just tricky to find that way. It's like what you said, you have to really, you really have to know the person that you're talking to regarding, I don't mean know him well, but whoever you're talking to, you've got to kind of quickly find out, right, how am I going to approach this?
Right.
And the best way is, get them to ask, or make a joke. I sometimes do a laugh. I'll separate my belief in flat Earth from me, so I could possibly say, "Oh, I've seen this video on YouTube, and it made me thinking," and then I started laughing, and then you can start telling these people facts through proxy, so that their anger's not directed, and if they are, you can tell if that person, you know, perks up interest or whatever, then you can go a bit deeper. But if not, take it on the level and think of a question that you can leave them with without, you know, seeming to push it on them, and leave it. And that's all.
Well, that's spot on, mate. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like remove that direct thing, you know, where it's like another man trying to tell another man something. You have to be a bit sneaky, a bit wily about it, and utilise the aspects, exactly like you say. You're trying to play to the psychology of them, mate. And added with that, it's about recognising subtleties in their demeanour, facial expression, you know, eye movement, the first response. Then you can get a gauge for where you're up with these people. You know, that's what we have to be up to. We have to be thinking like that, you know. So absolutely spot on, mate. I do that one as well. I've seen this thing, or act to daft. You know, I'm a bit confused. Confused about this. This kind of makes sense, and I've been kind of looking at it, and I don't know what to think about it. And people always want to jump in and help and give their 2 pence worth, you know. So it's wily and it's cunning, mate, but at the same time, it's not to put them in a place of bewilderment and confusion. You're trying to actually stimulate them and get them to think a wee bit, you know. So for me, it's totally different.
Yeah, and it's using knowledge, right? You know, it says with knowledge comes great power, which it does really. Do you know, if I know something more about something else, I can use that knowledge for 2 things, good and bad. Yeah. And that's a fact. And it doesn't matter whatever knowledge it is I've got, and if I could find a way to use it over a person. Yeah. So we've got to understand that. So if you're using it for good, it's perfectly, you know, I believe it's perfectly okay, because the intent is good, just to give that person a start. But it's like you said, watch for the facial expression and stuff like that. And if they do look as if look for that shocked look, because that shocked look, you have to, because you've got to, because some people do get traumatized, Del, by, you know, finding out. It's also that to think about as well.
That's another huge aspect that I think people overlook. They project their own subjective experience. You know, and I've said it so many times before, I've always been like this, and through my whole life has been a process of contemplation and analysing and thinking, and you build up an immunity and a strength with that experience. New people are thinking that you're going to get a Joe Bloggs who's never really been in those realms. They're maybe 30, 40 years old, have never really thought like that, and you think you're just going to hit them early with a hammer and snap them out of it. Even if you want to do that, you've got to think about the follow-on effect of the psychology and the emotional processes and the turmoil that they might get through. You can't just willy-nilly go about smacking people early with a hammer and then demanding that they get it and expect them to be at your level. It's just fucking absurd, you know?
Yeah, and I'm with you on that, and that thing, yeah, exactly. I'm with you. It's a deeper conversation, but I'm told I've always agreed that the way that you do it's very subtle kind of thing. But there's, you know, but as I say, you know, there's people, right? There's loads of people, they go about and they complain about, I've lost all my family and stuff like that. Then they go out in the street and they just literally ram it down people's throats. Exactly. Totally oblivious to what that, now, what's not going to say that person suddenly doesn't go away, says to his family, and his whole family fling him into the, you know, the rubbish bin. Exactly. You know, people have to think about their responsibility, and you've got to walk people in. You know, it's not easy, but as I say, you know, it's
again, that comes with the gauging of who you're interacting with, and just like you say, so that person may get a revelation right there and then, and that energy, that, you know, you've seen it with people where they get that impulsive reaction where they want to just run and tell people, you know, and then they run into their family homes shouting, "There's flat and this, that, and the other," and fucking, then they're getting a bad reaction, and then they can become a bit depressed, a bit anxious. I mean, you know, there's loads to think about, mate, you know.
I know, it's not funny, but it's like, I was laughing because that was like me. Within 5 minutes,
we've all done it. Exactly. We've all done it, mate, you know. I know something new, I need to tell every fucker. but again, it's like this. But again, like I think that's a quality to be valued, though, Ali, because For me, it's a sign of honesty and that your willingness to share things openly and freely. It's not really a bad thing. It's just that we're not in an ideal situation, so it has to be a bit more reserved. But it's still an attribute that I think should be applauded, because it's a sign for me of real honesty and altruism, that people just want to instantly share it. You know, rather than the cunning, devious fucker that thinks, oh, now I know something, I've got one up on these cunts, I can utilise that to my benefit. You know, it's totally different, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So, you there?
Yeah, it's a hard wee thing. Well, Dale, if you've got anybody else on, I'll just.
No, mate, I thought I'd lost you there. Sorry, mate. I just thought that the signal had went or something. I was just asking if you were still there.
Aye, no problems. I know I was going to say if there's someone else waiting to come on, and I'll drop off on that. But
aye, I'll have a wee look. I don't know what's happening, mate. I'll go and see the emails. Hold on.
I do it. You know me, when I come on, it's usually I like to hang around a bit because there's so much to talk about. And,
exactly, mate.
You know, but there's other people, as I say. So,
well, you're all right just now. I've not got any other.
Aye, just check it out.
No requests just now. I've got Brenda Von Assen asking again to come in. So.
Oh, she seriously. There's another thing. I mean, you know, just to. You know, some of the things that some of these people I usually watch a few hangouts. I've not really been doing much, but I've just been sort of listening to a few and that, and to listen to some of the answers that these people and the explanations. It just seems, you know, the more I start to study into like physics and theoretical physics, and then atoms and what's mass and what's velocity and all that kind of stuff, and what's gravity meant to be, and what's bending a space time, and when you go and look at this, their answers, it's like they're talking as if they're back in 1970. They're so way behind, like that they're so, you know, living in the past, where they haven't got a clue what science is saying to this very day.
Exactly. You
know what I mean? It's all fields. Particles are a thing in the past. It's all fields and Higgs bosons. A liquid, what it is now, it's like now there's a liquid, let's say the ether, man. They just don't want to say there's an ether, right? They've been avoiding this. They want to call it the Higgs field, and but now it's like what is it? It's like it's like this liquidy. Do you know what I mean? They're as well just coming out and say, hey, it's an ether, but the problem is then they'll have to drop every single bit of science that they've got. At the moment, if they do bring that in,
I know. And
this is the problem, you know, and it's
well, that's it. I mean, we exist on a medium. You know, people talk about space and all that. We're existing in it. This is fucking space. You know, we're already here. You know, it's no something that's out with where you are right now. You're in space. You know, you're in a 3-dimensional reality that has depth and breadth to it. I mean, that is space. You know?
Yeah. And here's a wee thing I was reading. I knew about this. I was reading into this, and I brought it up one time a year and a half, a couple of years ago in a hangout or something, to these ballers or something. And it's a thing. It's called the Barry Centre, but they never clicked on, and I never really bothered with it. So it was just recently with black holes, and people have been talking about gravity. So I've kind of went, well, there's a thing called a Barry Centre. And it's actually, it's kind of hard to describe it. It's basically what it means is the moon and the earth and the moon are actually rotating around each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The earth is actually, what do you call it? It's like wiggling, not on its axis as such, but the whole thing's moving 1,000 miles to the, well, if you looked from the top down, you would see that, and watched it spin, you would see it actually spinning round on its axis, and then you would see it moving from right to left in a kind of wobble, the whole thing moving. And I was thinking, right, wait a minute, what about the parallax of stars? Now this happens with the moon as the moon orbits, so that's like every 28 days. So every 14 days or whatever, you're actually over to the right, full over to the right-hand side. Now imagine observing a star and then moving back 1,000. It's quite strange. Look it up, Dale. Just look up Barry Centre and you'll see a video, and then you'll get just gets more and more ridiculous.
Well,
the fucking-
it's going to get complex, isn't it? It's bullshit. So they're constantly trying to cover, emptiness and spaces and
Yeah.
shit that they can't can't quantify properly. They'll just try to fill it in with all sorts of God of the Gaps type fucking shenanigans. It's interesting as well. I watched a wee video yesterday, I think, and it was in regards to the LIGO. Remember that thing?
Yeah.
Do you know what the cheeky bastards called the two tunnels?
Go on.
X and Y.
Ugh.
After a Cartesian coordinate
Yeah,
grid
yeah.
reference. Do you know what I mean? You're like, fuck's sake, these things are built plumb, level, perpendicular, fucking straight as a fucking die over a distance, and they've called them X and Y. Do you know what I mean? It's just absolutely fucking incredible.
It's like they like to rub it in your face.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's like well, you look at most of the moon missions or space missions or whatever. Although I do believe there's a medium up there, but it's totally different. And the thing about the gas pressures and stuff like that. My thoughts on that, Dale, and this is only just my thoughts, is because I know they say gravity is an acceleration, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and they say that. They say, first of all, right, we'll start from the beginning. If you drop something, it accelerates towards the ground, and that's agreeable, right? That's fair
But
enough.
see, the thing, Ali, see about that, is there a gradient to their gravity nonsense?
I will see, this is the thing. Yeah, well, there is, but there isn't.
Right.
It's like, do you know what it is? It's like a double-sided thing. It's quite fascinating with time and weight.
Mhm.
The opposite things happen as you go up in the height and stuff like that, right? It's totally contradictory. But the point I was making, right? So you drop something, right? Now they say there's a force. The only reason they say to cause an acceleration, you need a force. Therefore, if something that I drop accelerates, there must be a force,
Mhm.
right? Now I'll agree that to move an object from left to right or up in any direction other than down,
Mm-hmm.
you can prove it, right?
Yeah.
But there's absolutely no proof of
Force.
there's proof that a brick will accelerate, but there's no proof of it takes a force. It's just weight
Exactly.
for me.
Well, that's
And
it.
if they use the Cavendish, one second, if they say the Cavendish proves gravity, the attraction of masses, which is not gravity in the first place, but it doesn't matter. That's a sideways acceleration. That's not a downwards. It's
Yeah.
a downwards acceleration. Gravity is two balls coming together sideways has got
Exactly.
absolute fuck all to do with a downwards acceleration. Therefore, it's got nothing to do with gravity. It's totally irrelevant.
Exactly.
My belief, it's just weight. Now, with the atmosphere, to me, it's just the weight of the particles. And the thing is with gases, they've got kinetic energy. And when you heat gas, it gets excitable and it'll rise
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But when it gets to a certain temperature, it cools down again. It loses its
Back.
kinetic energy. Therefore, I can imagine in my head that there's a certain point in our atmosphere that goes up. It just settles back down.
The
And
coolness.
there's no sucking of a
No.
vacuum.
Well, that's
That's my
what I
opinion.
was going to add to that, Ali, because again, in the mechanics of reality, you're requiring one surface interacting with another surface to create motion. We know that it's everywhere. There is nothing in reality that we see as what we call pull. I don't know if you've seen me talking about this before.
Yeah,
Pull just
it's
means
push.
an object coming towards you or closer to another object. But in both situations, any motion to be created within your reality requires one pressure on another thing, something else interacting with something else, and a surface contacting another surface. Do you know what I mean? It's one bit of matter interacting with another bit of matter and creating a push. So yeah, we have to suspend all that actual reality and start invoking mystical forces that create motion of pull. But that's no a thing. There's no pull's no a something that you can demonstrate. It just means to bring something closer to something else. But you need a pressure. You need something pushing on something else to make that happen.
Right, but and I propose, this is what I'm proposing. Weight is the pressure, is the push. So it's the actual weight
Yeah.
that is pushing. So the weight of the atmosphere is pushing down. It's itself. It's
Yeah.
itself's own. It's not I don't say it's a force. I'm not saying it's a force. I'm saying, but the weight of it is pushing down upon the Earth, and it just gradates. And as I say, I believe that the gas rises, loses its kinetic ability or its movement, cools down. It's a fact that, you know, it's all science up to the Earth, and then, you know, it's.
It is. Well, that's
you know,
it.
I mean, it's a extrapolation, but who cares? It's just a thought.
No, but you're quite right to think like that, mate. It's totally. It's the same way, you know, when they're talking about the mass, and I've said that about the mountains. You know, why is water running off the larger area of mass? Is that a sidewards pull then? You know, to take it into the valley where there's less mass. So what's going on? Surely in your theoretical model, a mountain range has got a lot more mass to it, so therefore there must be a greater gravitational pull there. But yet things will fucking roll off the mountainside into the valley below. It's total fucking bullshit. You know? But
yeah, well, they seem to forget the Cavendish experiment when it suits them, because that's exactly if the Cavendish experiment did do two matter attracting each other, water would certainly stick to the side of a mountain.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Would it not?
Exactly.
Would it not?
I was thinking about you when I seen the because I was reminded of it. I'd seen it a couple of years ago and forgot about it, and it was the Patrick Moore bit where he interviews a couple of different guys, and you've got the
brilliant.
See the guy John Bradbury, because I know that you talk about, you think there's things going on up there, and there may be other aspects like different mediums or whatever. But that's what that guy John Bradbury was postulating. He goes on about, you know, a vacuum, a sub-vacuum, you know, kind of different layers of his wee model. Have you ever checked him out?
Yes, I did. I watched it. I've watched that. I seen that years and years and years ago, and it was Chris F.E. Jackson, Chris that came to visit you.
Yeah.
He reminded me, he said, "Oh, see this, you know, are we Venetians or something like that?" And he interviewed loads of people, and that was one of the guys, and it was brilliant because he had
a model.
Didn't he have a little experiment or something? He showed something, didn't he?
He had a model, and apparently, when I was listening to that, he was lecturing at Oxford and Cambridge and these kind of places, and he was well received. So, I mean, that guy was obviously not talking utter shite. So, but again, when you go and try and investigate, and you try and dig further, it's very difficult to find any of his papers or any of the work that he had out there. I don't know where it is, if anybody's found any. So that's what I was going to ask you, if you dug a wee bit into it, or maybe Chris has, you know, in regards to what.
I'll tell you what I'll do. That'll give me something to do. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll have a look at that, because I remember that, and what do you call it? It gave me so many thoughts.
Yeah.
And you know, thinking, oh right, okay, here's a scientist saying stuff that's against what physics does, and it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Even his eyepiece for the telescopes that he'd created.
Yeah.
Totally different for the modern astronomical telescopes that we have today. Where I think he was saying he has all the lenses in the wee short eyepiece. You know, basically trying to bring things closer rather than just magnifying.
That's right, like a microscope. It was like a microscope style.
Exactly.
That he was, as what you said, get it right up close, as if it was like 2 centimeters away the image.
Exactly.
And then you would get like a purer picture, more resolution or something. I think, if I remember right.
Aye, something like that. There's a wee bit of investigation, I think, is required, and hopefully people will kind of do a wee bit of digging, you know, like yourself. And I don't know what Chris F.E. Jackson has in regards to the Bradbury character, but it intrigued me enough, you know. As I say, I thought about you when he was mentioning some of the aspects of the wee model that he was postulating, you know. So maybe worth having a dig into it, mate.
Yeah, I'll have a wee look. Yeah, here's a good one. I'd like you to bring up. There was a guy on the Non Sequitur show, right? Mm-hmm. And he was an actual a scientist to do with global something to do with global stuff, right? Or the global warmings, but he was against it, right? Mm-hmm. And he was retired now, and he'd been doing this 30 years. He was a PhD, you know, he's a professor, and he'd been doing it for 30 years. And he came on there, and he started talking about it, and that's Steve. And I've only ever seen him like that twice. I've only ever seen him way out his depth, man, because he does know a lot about stuff, but he's just repeating mainstream shit. So he's not intelligent, just good at repeating stuff.
I think he's an absolute wank.
Yeah, well, I have to say, even though that I do know him, and I have used my interaction with him to my benefit or whatever. As I said, it's
Well, my
whatever.
experience, that's just my experience of him, It's just a
Yeah,
total-
but but I have to agree, he is a wanker.
Aye.
That's what I do. But the point was, is he couldn't. You could see he couldn't argue with this guy, but he was that Steve McRae was he resorted to having to admit. He said this is what the mainstream say.
Yeah.
Without he was doing what I was talking about. He was deflecting it away from his opinion, and he was just repeating the mainstream. But he was disassociating by saying, so the guy wasn't arguing with him. But he said about a peer review paper. He's wrote a paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he started talking about the peer review process. And what it was, he said, Steve McRae goes, "Oh, why don't you get it published?" He says, "What?" He says, "Don't you think I have?" He says, "I've hit it," and he started blabbing off all these peer review magazines and stuff like that. He says, "I've sent it to every single thing, and not one." And he was explaining that carbon dioxide had nothing at all to do with the global warming.
Yeah.
But the point was nothing to do with global warming. It was the fact that there was a perfect example of a guy that was given an alternative, and it was because he was retired, he wrote the paper.
Uh-huh.
He kept quiet.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And so his job wasn't at stake now.
Exactly.
He was retired, got his pension or whatever he's got, man. Sound dude as well. You should maybe go and watch it.
Yeah.
It was the scientist guy. But he explained a bit about the peer review. Now, when you write a paper and you send it in, it certainly does get looked at by people. It also can get looked at by maybe 4 or 5 scientists, and maybe the scientists could have absolutely nothing at all to do with the paper that you're writing, but your paper might hold an equation for magnetism.
Yeah.
So these guys will know, right? So what he was saying was, what they do is they revise your paper, right? The paper that you've proposed, and they'll put corrections to it that they think's relevant, and they will then send that back to you. Now, if you make the changes and sign that, bingo, you've got your paper published.
Yeah.
Now, so you're changing your theory, even though you're basically changing your theory, so it's not like an open system.
No.
It's basically saying if you make a change in the theories, you'll publish it for you, or whatever. So it's quite a hard process. It's just funny how they put this as a standard, the peer review process, when it's nothing but a sham.
Exactly.
It's actually a gateway kind of thing. So
exactly.
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, nice one, mate. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us on, Del.
Aye, it's appreciated, mate. It's been a good chat, bud. So hopefully I'll hear back from you, mate, in regards to the Bradbury character. If you do a wee bit of digging, see what you
I
find
will
out.
do. I've got your email. Yeah, I will do, actually. Yeah, I'll get on with that. I'll speak to Chris. I haven't spoke to Chris for a wee while. I've been out the loop. I've just been commenting now and again in chats. But yeah, I'll do that, Del. Yeah, that'll be interesting to go and have a look at that guy again, because it did pique my interest the first time. So.
Me too, mate.
All right, bud.
Nice
one, mate.
Cheers, Ali.
All right, you have a good weekend, mate.
You too, mate. Take
Good
care.
night.
Take care, mate. Right. Just see what's going on here. So again, anybody that wants to join me, you need to send a request to the email that's above me. Let me just have a wee look, see here. Hold on. Shut off. Right. Right, well, true to my word, the only one that's next on the list is Brenda Van Assen. Let me see. So if we run out of requests, people, I'm going to come to the chat box, interact there. If people prefer questions or whatever they want to postulate in the chat box, I will read it out from there. But I'm going to just be true to the format and give everybody the opportunity. So right, that's that sent. Well, I've just sent it, and now you've sent me another email. You're afraid of me and all this fucking crap. Listen, fucko. Don't even start me with that fucking bullshit, right? Because I'm just going to tell you fucking straight. Right? Not afraid of any cunt, especially no you, Brenda. Right? Here I am being fucking fair and sending you the fucking link, and you're too impatient. You're sending that cack. Afraid of no cunt. We've had a full of your bullshit. So you better not come in here with the same bullshit. Brenda Von Ass is an air fucking sniper. Click the fucking link. See what I mean? It's not very conducive. We're not getting off on the right foot with your impatient, antagonistic crap. Tell you I've no fucking fuse for you. Use one of your sock puppets. Anybody else, please feel free to send me an email. But right now I'm just going to deal with the chat box. What are we saying here, people? Let me see. I want to hear your points. Gav, how you doing? You want to come in and say a few bits? Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good afternoon, Del.
What's all this crap about me being scared of you?
Let's not get into an argument.
I'm not getting into an argument. I'm asking you. You sent that, so I'm asking you. Why do you feel the need to make these kind of statements?
Because it seems to me that that's the case.
No,
I was just going to tell you what my thoughts and passions are.
Go for it.
Because that's what you ask in your notes to your show. My thoughts and passions, my passions and things I'm interested in are talking to people on the internet, debating, trying to get better at debating, having my beliefs be true and to comport with reality and objective facts. And that's why I believe what I believe. I don't want to have shouting matches with you or with any other flat earther, but it seems to go that way because people get angry when they disagree. And I think we could disagree without getting angry.
Well, of course we could, Brenda. But the problem is in times gone by, you would never respect that. You're the one that kept coming to me and using the same old tired rhetoric and sophist nonsense. And I was sick of telling you that, I've gave you my response to them, but you kept bringing it and it's antagonistic, so I got a short fuse for it. So that's the only reason why. So you have to look at yourself and your own actions and how you've laid yourself out, So that's it. I've said it many times before. I'm only going to mirror what people are offering me. So if you come in here with manners and respect and you're courteous, then you're going to get the exact same in return.
Well, the facts don't change. That's the problem.
What
And the facts don't care about your feelings about what the shape of the earth ought to be.
you don't
The
you
shape
don't
of the earth
but
is what it is.
Brenda,
It
this
doesn't care
this
about your feelings.
but this is some of the aspects that are antagonistic, Brenda, because you say those statements, although you've heard me saying that a million times. So I'm very well aware that the objective reality does not care about your subjective interpretations, wishes, desires, beliefs. I'm the one that states that over and over and over again, Brenda. So there's absolutely no requirement for you to say that to me like I don't already know it.
Okay.
So again, be aware of who you're dealing with. Again, you're showing me a lack of respect. So,
I'm not disrespecting you.
well, you're disrespecting me because you're making those statements as if I need to hear it.
Well, you might hear it, you might say it, but I don't think that you are being genuine, because it's easy to show that the things that you claim to be true are not true.
Okay.
It's trivial. Any child can figure these things out.
Be specific. Don't just generalise, Brenda. Specifics, please.
The fact that ships going over the horizon shows that the earth is curved.
Brenda, you knew you were going to do it again. You've just asserted things about me and things that I claim. Now you're jumping to your rhetoric again of your religious cult. So, we're not going to get very far here, Brenda, unless you cover yourself up and snap out of this bullshit. Okay, now be specific about me and what I state and how that I'm wrong. Try that. Don't bring straw mans and fucking misrepresentations.
Well, you claim that we can only have practical models, and that's just false. We can have mathematical models. These are perfectly acceptable. It is science. It is natural, physical science to have mathematical models based on theoretical physics. That is natural science.
Is it, Brenda?
Yes,
So,
yes, it is.
As long as you get practicality and some sort of practical reference for me, then that's fine.
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, you've been invited many times, but look, time's gone by, Brenda. All you bring's rhetorical crap. You don't bring practicality. When you're talking about models and modelling, you're talking about theoretical abstractions. I live in the real world. When I want to see a model of some aspect of my reality, it contains the elements and the aspects of my direct reality. No linguistic crap drawn in paper and insisted by morons. Okay?
Well, that's how science is done. It's done with mathematics.
No, it's not done with Brenda. Again, displaying your zealotry and your obvious ignorance. Mathematics is not a natural science; it's a formal science because it's a language. The natural world, was here before man ever devised some sort of language. Okay, so the practical world is first and foremost before your insistence of a language being relevant to me. That's where I take it from. So when we're talking about models and somebody makes a claim about an aspect of my reality, I expect a practical demonstration, Brenda.
You are correct when you say math is a formal science and not the same as mathematics. I'm not the same as physical sciences.
Mathematics is a formal science.
It's a formal science. Yes,
that's right.
You're right.
So the only way that it applies to reality in my regard is when it's in reference to something practical.
We can use math, however, to describe the natural, physical, objective world around us.
No.
Even though it is a formal system, it can be used to describe things.
That's right.
Right? Like this board, like the dimensions of your shed are whatever they are, 8 by 12, whatever
That's practical engineering, Brenda. That's practical applied engineering.
Right. That's a formal mathematical system used to describe your shed.
But Brenda, people were building sheds and houses before anybody invented the language of mathematics.
I don't know if that's true.
Of course it's true. So you think people were born into the world with theoretical mathematics and a mathematical language instilled in them? Or do you think that practicality was first and foremost and then a language was devised at a later time?
People had systems of counting a long time ago, And if you can't count, I don't know how you would build a teepee, because you have to count.
Brenda, you're obviously in avoidance here. I'm offering up first principles, and you're just avoiding at every turn. It's absolutely absurd for somebody who professes to be of any wisdom or intellect to come in here and try and assert that language came before the practical world. Stop being ridiculous.
I think they came about at the same time. Language is a practical utility.
Brenda, how
We name things.
Mathematics came before practical experience. Really?
I think that they grew up together.
They came at a later date, Brenda.
It doesn't. Well, okay, fine.
Well, even in your experience as a human being will isolate you as an individual. Through your childhood, when you were an infant, a baby, getting into, infancy, did you know about mathematics?
I could count.
You could count, which is arithmetic, Brenda. No mathematics, arithmetic. So, before you could even associate a language like numbers and how to ascribe them to practical, tangible stuff, you were messing with the objective reality practically before you started to adopt the language.
Arithmetic is mathematics.
Again, we're displaying avoidance here. It's very, very simple, Brenda, and factual. You were messing with objective reality in a practical fashion before you adopted any linguistic understanding and attachments to your practical, everyday lived life. Correct?
Okay. I'll accept that.
Right. Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult with people? Why is it so difficult with people like you just to get simple fundamentals ironed out? This is why I can't be bothered speaking to people like you, Brenda, because it is frustrating, because it's like I'm dealing with a zealot, willfully ignorant moron. You've got this. You come in with this stance that you're different from me, and you've got to do battle, and we can't agree on certain things.
It's because we have different opinions. We have different.
It's not
beliefs.
an opinion, Brenda. It's a fact that a child is born in a practical world without language instilled in them. That's a fact, Brenda. Not an opinion.
They don't have language instilled in them.
Right.
You're right.
So language comes at a later time. The world,
so what?
The movement, the apparent movement of objects and celestial bodies and all these things were all here before human beings started putting language to it.
That's true.
That's
the moon
true. That's right, Brenda.
Revolved around the sun before anybody had any words about it. You're right.
You're not going to just assert, make assumptions and assert your assumptions as if they're true, Brenda. I'm not interested in that. What's your passions and the things that you're interested about? Let's try a different line of inquiry, because I'm not going here with you.
Oh, okay. My passions. I have artistic things that I like to do. I like discussing logic and philosophy and politics with people on the internet, on Discord, on Hangouts, things like that. Those are some of my passions. I like learning. Learning is a passion, and so I listen to different podcasts. I like reading. I like to read books, so I'm reading a book right now. Those are some of my passions in life.
Brenda, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you think the force is that makes the human body move?
My muscles?
No. What makes your muscles move?
The chemical. Where does the energy come from? It comes from the food I eat eventually, right?
What decides and dictates? What is the force that makes any motion of your human body move?
Electrical and chemical forces.
What directs it? What is it that directs that?
My brain.
Your brain?
Yeah.
So what? Your brain's just willy-nilly making decisions? Do you consider yourself an active agent that makes those choices?
Yes.
So you identify that as the matter of a brain?
Yes.
So you're an automaton?
No.
So what are you then?
An agent, like you said.
An agent? What is that agent?
An agent?
What is the agent?
Yeah, that's what I said.
What's that?
I'm the agent.
Well, who's you?
I am the.
Who's you though?
This is me.
No, but who
This
are
body,
you?
this body, mind, and brain,
Mind
and skeleton. That's me.
Sorry, let's trace back a wee bit. Mind and brain. So, do you think there's a distinct separation between the mind and the brain?
No,
No. So, what part are you then? Are you the mind or are you the brain?
my thoughts are what brains do.
That's just word salad. I don't know what that means, Brenda.
Well, it's like moving is what muscles in your arms do.
What directs that though?
Nothing directs it.
So,
I do.
what's making you move and speak right now?
I am.
Who's you though?
I'm an agent.
What is the agent?
That's me.
What though? You're not being specific, Brenda. I'm trying to, engage in a bit of philosophical, conversation here with you, and you're avoiding again. So, it's either that you've not contemplated it enough, or you're actively trying to avoid accepting certain aspects of your being, Brenda. So I'm going to ask you again, what is it that directs any of your thoughts, any of your motion and your physicality? Like if you're picking your nose right now, what makes that happen, Brenda?
I am a materialist. I think that brain are what we are. I am a brain within a body.
So
I'm a materialist. There's no spirit. There's no immaterial thing that exists beyond the physical world. There's just the physical world.
So you're just a brain. You're just a lump of meat that randomly appeared from a process of chance over a period of time that had no causality, that had no intention to it, and you're sitting in here trying to talk to me, and I should accept your rationale. I should take you as a sentient being. Why should I place any relevance on anything you've got to say when you're actively removing yourself as any sort of conscious agent and you're just a machine, Brenda? How do you gauge that you're rational and reasonable and logical and all these kind of things? Where are you getting that for, Brenda?
I am a rational agent, and I did not come about by
how are you deciding that? How are you deciding? How are you coming to that conclusion, Brenda, when you're telling me you come from random, happened chance with no rational reason behind it?
I don't come from random, haphazard chance.
Where do you come from? Where do you come from then?
I come from my parents.
Where did they come from? Trace it all the way back, Brendan. We're getting to rocks.
Right.
We're getting to random, happenstance chances. Is that correct? That's your worldview, Brenda. Is that right?
Evolution, not the belief that everything happened by chance.
So you're a neo-Darwinian evolutionist then. That's your neo-Darwinian conceptions. That's what you believe.
Evolution is a fact, is a historical fact.
And you think no, it's not, Brenda. Stop waffling crap. So you then think that that you are just a result of evolution in a deterministic type scenario.
Sure.
Okay. Well, so am I then, Brenda.
What?
Well, I must be in your worldview, am I no? So why the fuck are you here trying to do battle with it?
Am I doing battle? I just want to have a conversation.
You told us that you want to do debates and stuff with people, but we're talking to a machine that's a deterministic, that's got a deterministic path based on previous things gone by, that has no will or volition or intent or causality or any of these things. And you're sitting here, the cheek of you sitting here trying to have a conversation with me. I don't want to talk to a robot.
I don't think that you are a robot. I'm not a robot.
You must
think intentionality, I think intentions and beliefs and thoughts are consistent with the materialistic view of the world.
So they're shaped by, exterior events and things happening and you're not an agent within directing your will and your intent. You're no contemplating, you're no rationalising, you're no theorising about anything because it's all a deterministic process that's going on. That's your worldview, Brenda. So if you really subscribe to that, why are you trying to do debate with other people? What aspect of you thinks that it's got the right to do that? Obviously, there's something else going on, Brenda.
No, it just gives me pleasure to debate and to improve my
Gives who
skill
pleasure,
in
Brenda?
talking.
Brenda,
What?
gives who pleasure? What are you talking about? The machine?
Gives me pleasure.
Who's you? The machine? Am I talking to a machine here?
I'm not a machine. I'm an
What?
agent.
How can you? I'm talking about an agent. I'm talking about something that's distinctly separate and different from the material matter that is the body.
Yeah, that's not what I mean by an agent.
I know you don't. You just mean you're a lump of meat spewing shit that was all predetermined. Therefore, you've got no free will, you've got no volition, none of what you're saying is off your own back, you have no free thoughts of your own, you're just a predetermined robot.
Well, no, I don't agree with you that that's the case. I don't think it's a choice between those two alternatives.
You've just told us your worldview, Brenda, and now you want to deny your worldview.
No, I'm not denying it.
Yeah.
I think that your assessment of it is wrong.
Explain how it's wrong.
Because I think that I am capable of having thoughts, beliefs, and desires that are directed by myself, right? That are an intentionality, and that this is consistent.
Oh, so
you've got material world.
So you've got intentionality. I thought you were an automaton that was predetermined.
That's not inconsistent with.
It's totally inconsistent, Brenda. It's totally inconsistent. You cannot assert that you're coming from a predetermined, deterministic worldview and then start asserting that you've got intent and free will and free thought. You must be daft.
I don't think they're inconsistent.
What?
I don't think that they are inconsistent. You have to show me that they're inconsistent.
I'm pointing out how it's inconsistent. We've just walked through the steps that you've agreed, and then now you're doing a whole U-turn and trying to shift the goalposts on your worldview. If you're telling me that you're a process of random chance happenings that's predetermined and hardwired, then there is no way that you're an active agent of intent and free will. Absolutely none. The only way that's possible is if you identify yourself as something separate from the material body that you're occupying. So then you would be a dualist. But you're asserting you're a materialist, which means you don't have any free will, free thought.
I don't think that I came about as random chance. You keep strawmanning my position.
Well, did it happen through a guide? Did something guide it? Did something intend it? Was it a design?
Evolution designed it, yeah.
So you're saying evolution is now an active agent of causality and intent?
It's called evolution designs in a sort of, it's a non-personal thing, but nevertheless things come about, and due to the process of evolution and natural selection, things get designed.
Oh,
It's natural design.
So, it's natural design. It's a design that no will or intent's just behind. So it's just chance happenings. Then it's just randomness.
It's not just random. It's called teleonomic. It's teleonomic design. It means that there are natural processes which can, in fact, result in apparent design.
All right. Apparent design, so it's no design now, it's apparent design. So let's just get back to the agent aspect, because again, I can't really talk to a machine, Brenda. How can I take anything that you say or or place any relevance upon you telling me you're a logical, rational, sentient being when you're telling me that you're the product of some unspecified process that doesn't allow you to have free will, volition, intent, and any of that kind of stuff. You surely must be able to see the absurdity of your worldview, Brenda. It's preposterous. It's preposterous.
No.
It's preposterous. You can have that worldview, Brenda, but to then assert to other sentient beings that they should engage with you in rational, logical, contemplations is pretty absurd.
No. I am an agent because I'm able to act according to my own internal reasons. I have
What's your
reasons
internal
for acting.
reason? You're talking duality again, Brenda. You're talking about some aspect of you that's assessing what the machine's doing, and then you're making decisions like you're something separate for you. You can't do that if you're a materialist, Brenda. You don't have free will and volition. It's all just happening without any active agent involved in it.
An agent has reasons for action, and that's what I have, is reasons for action. It doesn't matter if you don't like it or if it doesn't conform with your
what
opinion about it.
What I need to do then is speak to this other causality that created you then, or put you into motion, because I can't speak to you because you're shirking all responsibility for who you are.
Well, that's just not true. You just straw man and
That's
say
not a
it's
straw
all just
man.
random stuff.
It's not a straw man.
You just say it's random. You just say it's random, and it's not random.
Well, what is it then, Brenda? Something guiding it.
No, there doesn't anything guiding it. There doesn't have to be.
So it's
anything guiding
random then.
We all obey physical rules and physical laws.
Where did they come from, Brenda? They're all random as well in your worldview. They're all random. All these things that you're talking about are all random as well. There's no guide behind it. It's just all happening with unguided chance happenings.
Just because there isn't a deity in charge of everything doesn't mean that everything is just random. That's not how it works.
Well, that's your worldview, I'm afraid.
No, it's not.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Brenda. Come on. You're embarrassing yourself now.
The physical laws of the universe simply are what they are. They're not there because the universe was designed. They just are.
I never asserted that. I'm questioning your worldview. You're saying they're there because of nothing and chance. And then
I'm not saying that.
Well, what if it's no chance randomness, Brenda? It has to be intended.
No, it doesn't have to be intended.
We're just going to go in circles now. So it's been interesting to delve into your psyche here, Brenda, and see the contradictions within your own internal workings. Again, I consider myself as having a will, having a volition, and I can direct that and I can take responsibility for that. I don't just pass it off as I'm just a machine, because again, I would be absolutely ludicrous for me to try and engage with any other sentient being coming from that worldview and expecting them to take me seriously somehow. So I appreciate your time, Brenda. It was nice to have a different conversation with you, but I'm going to move on now, so maybe another time.
Okay.
Nice one. Take care. Right. Bill, stop putting me off. Be careful with this message. Evan Kim has never sent you messages using this email address. Avoid replying to this email unless you reach out to the sender by other means to ensure this email address is legitimate. Somebody's phishing. Insane. So we've got Eben Kim, be very careful. We've got somebody that looks like they're trying to spoof your email. I don't know what's going on there. It's warning me not to respond to it. I'm just going to show people so that I'm not telling lies. There it is. So I can't respond to that, obviously. So no, Eben Kim, so it is you, but that's what it's saying. Hopefully you've seen that there. Is there some other method that I can send you a link to this? Evan Kim, I'm going to go to one of the previous emails that you sent me. Oh, wait a minute. Right, okay, right, it's giving me a different one now. It's my real email address. Did you just resend an email there, Evan Kim? As I say, North Nottingham Paranormal Investigators, I've got to be true to the format. Yeah. Right, okay, I'm going to set another one up and I'll send it. Right, where are we? Exactly, Gav. See, it's all good a bit of banter, but you know, I don't think anybody deserves, you know, to be slated into the muck. You know, we can engage with them and you know see the total hypocrisy and the lunacy in some of these worldviews that people hold to be true. Again, you know, we're talking to people who think that they come from an unguided, you know, randomness and that they're not an active agent with will and intent. You know, that aspect of ourselves that we identify, the observer, you know, the ghost in the machine, whatever you like. You know, if you know, I'm just dealing with a robot and it doesn't have any active powers, you know, how can you take any of that seriously? It's bizarre, totally bizarre. You know, but each to their own. You know, people can believe in whatever they like, regardless of how fucking absurd it is. Just don't expect me to buy into it. Oh, I've sent it, Evan Kim.
Oop, I gotta mute you. There. How's it going?
How you
Can
doing?
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you all right.
All right, awesome. Yeah, that's weird that I've got like a phishing email.
Aye.
But it's good to talk to you. I
Aye.
like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to follow up Brenda like that.
Well, can we start? Am I talking to somebody with free will and their own thoughts here, or am I talking to a machine?
I don't know. What if I'm my own agent too?
Well, depends what you mean by that, obviously, you know.
I would love to just have a chat with her sometime. She's just
No,
it's just entertaining.
aye. You knock yourself out, man. I've had my fill of that, you know. So
Yeah. She's on everywhere. She's on here. She's on Nathan Oakley.
yeah,
She does like to talk with flat earthers.
yeah. Or anybody who's questioning mainstream narratives. You know,
Yeah.
that seems to be the goal, is to engage with people who questions the mainstream nonsense. You know.
I'm curious as to know what her job is. If she's like a government worker,
Mm-hmm.
like a science teacher or something.
I don't know. I don't think she would know. I don't think you can believe the response because apparently she's just a machine. You know, so maybe somebody else is programming her, or you know, she's a result of evolution and times gone by. So again, you know, I don't know how we could justify or judge anything that's offered. You know.
Well, she could help program what's the AI for like Amazon
Mm-hmm.
and Google and Microsoft?
Well, that's it.
She could help.
Exactly. These people seem to think they've got it sussed out and they know what consciousness is and all brain functions. So I'm still waiting for this robot that understands feelings and can express emotion and, knows what the smell of a food is and what the experience of a colour is and all this kind of stuff. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. There's so many experts like Brenda out there, but yet we don't seem to have that,
Brenda needs her own call-in website where people can ask her questions, just like we ask questions to AIs. Like, how does red make you feel, Brenda?
Yeah.
Brenda goes, red is red. It doesn't make me feel anything.
Crazy. So how are you, mate? You all right? You good?
Yeah, I just was watching your the big hangout that you had with oh man, there's too many people. It was with Gav, Alyssa Hawk, Eric DeBay, Eddie Bravo for a little while.
All right. Yeah, I seen Eric had uploaded that again to his other
Yeah.
channel. Aye, that was a while ago.
Oh, it was? Oh man.
Yeah.
It's still good because I'm relatively new. So
Nice one.
I guess I came out in January of this year.
Okay.
And so just getting into it and talking to people, and man, the history goes back a long time with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And just getting into it now, it's like the drama is bigger than I thought it would be. It's huge.
Exactly. It is, mate. Obviously it's you start to realise the complexities and the shenanigans that go on surrounding this whole question, and it's not a pretty sight, to be honest with you. But
yeah. The only way I can think about it is when I'm talking to someone about anything, whether it's flat Earth, globe Earth, it doesn't matter, or conspiracy theories, rabbit holes. It's in their end result. What do they not just believe in? It's just what's their end goal? Is it to be free, or is it to go back to a system of control? Go back to supporting your politicians and your government, or go back to a religious doctrine and dogma, or go back to thinking, just got to make more money and just be rich and retire. And it's like, what are they trying to say at the end of their whole spiel? Is go back and just listen to some gatekeeper, listen to some authority figure. So I always take it that way.
Exactly. Aye, that's it. I always encompass it by that. Are they offering me, freedom of my own being? Are these people offering the critical tools that we require? Are we understanding ourselves, our minds? Are we taking responsibility? And it's very few and far between. When you see these people, and it makes me wonder, you touched on people who say that they want truth and they want change. And I always think to myself, do the majority of these people really want that? Or are they just vying for a slice of the pie of the already existing paradigm and structure that we have? And they're just using the guise of trying to break out of it to gain popularity and stature. It's I think there's quite a lot of that within people.
Yeah. Man, I had so many questions. Sorry.
That's all right, mate.
You're always on when I have to take care of the kids by myself, so it's hard to get on. But I'm glad for this opportunity, and I love it when people, it doesn't matter who they are, but just have an open, like a forum, open forum.
Yeah.
Like you don't care who you talk to, you'll talk to Brenda even.
Exactly.
I mean, that's great, and I think we need more of that, because the way that the system currently is set up is they definitely like to segregate and make sure that you have to be you have to have certain either like subscribers, views, or you have to have maybe 2 doctorates, or have to be well known in the community of whatever it is. And I think that's how we get into these problems. We just start having like a class system.
Exactly, mate. It becomes resegregated pockets of cults and bias confirmation and circle jerks, and you know, these aspects, which is not healthy. That's why, you know, I want to maintain the kind of open platform on a Saturday. Unfortunately, you know, I've had to whittle it down to this kind of format because obviously we've got so much nonsense going on. It's very difficult just to be totally open and post the link into the chat boxes and let anybody just, you know, join at once and for people to interact in that kind of way. So we've had to deal with this, but it's actually a bit better. I actually enjoy this a lot more because you get the opportunity one-to-one and new people like yourself coming on get the opportunity to express themselves and bring up whatever they want without, you know, sometimes if somebody else was in here, you may have a train of thought and they start talking and take it in another tangent, and before you know it, you've not your opportunity to express whatever it was you were thinking and feeling, you know. So I quite like this, to be honest with you. It suits me, and I think it suits other people a little better, you know.
Yeah, I understand that because I hate moderating sometimes because if someone's saying something, you know, I don't want to interrupt them and say, hey, let's listen to him and then we'll go back to you and keep doing that. It just kind of interrupts the flow.
Exactly.
But I do like having a lot of people just kind of interact with each other. And
that's it. It'd be nice to have a mix of both worlds, mate. But as I say, unfortunately, this platform here is always targeted by porn bombing and disruption and all that nonsense. So you can't even have a kind of free flowing, you know, natural chat with different people all coming in because you're just getting these people descending on it and ruining it, you know.
Yeah, I've had that problem too. And the weird thing about that is it was before Flat Earth, and it was, I mean, I don't have a lot of people watching my live streams. It's like 4 or 5 people. So why are they even bothering porn bombing a live stream with 4 or 5 people on it? It's like, seriously, you guys can porn bomb someone who's has more views, get more notoriety or something.
Yeah.
But
well, what's your content? What have you been discussing in your live broadcasts?
So recently, well, I've been focusing a lot more on flat Earth stuff, more towards just not really looking into flat Earth, but looking more into globe Earth.
Yeah.
Just the official narratives.
Yeah.
Because if you just look into the official narrative, that's all it is.
That's it.
And you can figure things out just by doing that. And then recently, Julian Assange was taken out of the Ecuadorian embassy.
Yeah.
He had with him, while he was being taken out, a book which is from Gore Vidal's History of the National Security State. I never read that. I didn't know Gore Vidal was really that big into history and politics and a whole bunch of that stuff. I thought he did like a couple of movies here and there, but you know, that wasn't that much. But I read it. I did a whole reading of it, like that took 3 hours, 15 minutes, and then I just did a summary that took me like 3 hours just to write up that summary. But it's pretty good. I mean, there are some people who think Julian Assange is a CIA plant, and I still don't get that part because he's exposing corruption and injustice, and he keeps wanting people, like if that book was a sign, that book goes and pretty much spells out just how bad we are as far as the U.S. being a military economic power, and that's it. You know, we just have to rely on that, and the propaganda goes way back since Woodrow Wilson with Hollywood and just smear tactics and lies. And I mean, if he's a CIA plant, they better pick a better plant.
Exactly. Aye. So you've been noticing an increase of porn bombing and sniping on your channel since you started talking about this stuff?
Well, I started like 3 years ago, but I started with politics. I actually started my wake up process with Bernie Sanders in the 2016 Democratic election here. And yeah, he I don't know if he got too scared or if he sold out, but I mean, I'm kind of way past politics.
Yeah.
It's like I was never a Democrat or Republican. I was always independent. I was always non-affiliated. And then, so I just made a lot of, I wanted things like this where people can just talk their, you know, opinions or their thoughts and just get it out there, and people can go and join and converse and just participate because it's something we can't do with corporate mainstream media.
Yeah.
And So that's what I want to do, just kind of help out with politics in that way. But then I realized, well, politics isn't going to be the solution.
No.
And so I just started going down rabbit holes after rabbit holes, and then Flat Earth came. It was the last one. I was like, all right, let's look at Flat Earth, because I never thought NASA landed on the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, I was questioning it, and then I researched it, and I was like, oh man, NASA's been lying. So like, what else is there? And then I always see people in mainstream media saying, so what's next? You know, if you think NASA and the moon landings were a hoax, what's next? Flat Earth? And they say it all the time. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, let's go look at Flat Earth. And I was on the edge. I was like on the border. I was like, well, there's no evidence either way.
Mhm.
I mean, I still don't believe in NASA and what they've done, but and then there's this show from Discovery Channel or PBS. It's actually called PBS Genius by Stephen Hawking,
Right.
and it's season 1, episode 6, and they do the
Helicopter.
filming something going down behind a flat body of water.
Yeah.
It's a helicopter.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's 3 birds that fly across horizontally
That's right.
for when the helicopter's going down, and then about a minute later, they filmed the helicopter going up. They reused that same scene with those 3 same birds going across the water, and I was like, well, if they had to fake it,
Yeah.
if they had to fake the results, okay, I don't
Yeah.
believe in the globe Earth model, that's for sure. What else is there? Flat Earth, and then I start researching into the ancient mythology, because a lot of the mythologies and even the biblical scriptures and Abrahamic Bible stuff, right?
Yeah.
They all point to this flat Earth, firmament, and all this other stuff, and just the depictions that they have. So
Yeah.
I don't know, it just gets me curious, but it actually makes me more excited, because I was bummed because I've always wanted to fly out inner space,
Uh-huh.
you know, and be an astronaut and roam and explore planets.
Yeah.
But I knew that was never going to even happen, even if space were true.
Yeah.
But now there's an alternative.
Exactly.
I mean, that's all fake. There's just more to explore on Earth itself.
Exactly, and it's more attainable because it's here. It's lateral. It's across the way. You know, it could be down the way. It might. You know, there's all sorts of options. You know, you're not as limited now in the possibility, which again for me is an aspect which is great because it's freeing. It's more exciting. You know, we're no longer stuck in that mindset of everything's discovered and there's nothing left for you to figure out, you know, other than pick a career or pick a hobby or distract yourself until the day you die, you know, which is a pretty, you know, horrible prospect, you know, that it's all laid out for you and you've got very limited choice. No, but looking at this, there's a real distinct possibility that there's more to discover out there. And for me, it's hugely exciting because, as you say, even if space was true and it was really the case, you and I are never ever going to get anywhere near exploring that. We just have to put our faith in the hands of a select few men and try and live it through them. And that's exactly what people are doing right now, you know?
Yeah. So anyways, I don't want to take up more of your time. I'm grateful for the time that you had me on.
Excellent.
And
is your channel called Eben Kim?
Yeah, just search up on Kim. It's in multiple platforms. I just try to make sure just to cover all the bases.
Excellent. Can you send a wee link to me in an email or something, or even post it in the chat box, and so that I can get direct to your YouTube channel, and I'll obviously share it in the chat box as well when I'm live.
Okay.
Excellent.
That'd be awesome.
And hopefully
Right.
we'll have you back again, mate. It'd be good to, you know, interact with you some more.
All right. Awesome.
All right, mate.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Take care.
You too.
Right, I need to, I need to open this up again. Right. So where was I? Let me just have a wee check here. Sean Dixon, you'll just need to wait the next time. What's this debate? I am Sean, how do we contact? You're in contact with me, Sean. Another email, hi Dale, how do we get this on? Get what on? So I have a net froze, send me a link if you fancy a challenge. No, come on later, interested in the debate or no? I'm not, I don't do debates, Sean. Reality's singular. There only is one. It's not an idea or a concept to be won or lost by rhetoric and insistence and beliefs and all that stuff. It's simple. You state what you think reality is, or an aspect of reality. You quantify, you offer it up as a objective practicality, you demonstrate your findings in a practical fashion, and that's how we go on with it. You know, if you're in for debates, you've came to the wrong place, mate. If you want to go and, you know, piss in the wind with your ideas and your concepts, I suggest you go and find somebody else that adopts ideas and concepts about our objective reality, because I don't. So you're welcome the next time. I'm gonna hang on. YouTube channel. So here we go. Copy. So that's Eben Kim, the last guest that was just on there. There's a link to their YouTube channel. So I appreciate everybody who came on this evening. It's been a real pleasure. I like this format a lot more. We'll keep at this for the foreseeable future. So as always, thanks to the mods, everybody in the chat, people watching, everybody that takes part, much appreciated. I will see you very, very soon. We'll get back into this aspect on the question I was asking Brenda. The human body and what actually makes motion occur within you. Never mind the world at large. We'll discuss it in regards to us. So take care, people. See you very soon.